the region that you lead is investable. Minister, after you.
Yes, if you're an investor and you're looking for a region that's investing heavily into their own defense, Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, you need secure investments. You need a business environment where it's easy to do business, where societies are fully digitalized, where economic freedom is top of the world. And for example, in Estonia, I would say even where the ease of doing business is #1 in the world, basically. You can form a company in 15 minutes. You have really good and strong friends and allies in the north and in the south. So this is the region where you can grow. Is it a traditional investment, or you want to do something in AI, as a colleague already said? So this is the region and a place where investments are really looked forward, and there are governments who will help the investment actually land also.
I'm convinced.
I'm also convinced.
Lovely. Deputy Minister Roszyński, Poland.
Poland, of course. If I were investors, I think that Central Europe, Central and East Europe, it will be the best choice, of course. We've got many talented IT specialists, experts. We've got innovative startups, and that is very, very important. How can we grow, and how can we be the first? And I think this is the best choice for investors. Short, of course.
So you have quite some resources to build on. Okay, I'm convinced too. Deputy Minister Kizenevic, Lithuania.
So first of all, Lithuania, like all other countries around, really has these incentives to invest, and why Lithuania the best country. But even more important thing is that finally, after February 2022, we realized that we have to look for friends, we have to join our forces and work, invest together. So the message from our region, not only from Lithuania, but from Scandinavia, from Poland, is that more investments into eastern border region mean that we are more safe. So this is our very clear message to all investors across the globe.
Maybe one joke to the end, and maybe some feedback from for our friends and colleagues to the Western and Southern Europe. In the region, we still have talented people who want to work hard and make money.
Exactly. That's the bottom line, right? Or at least that's the message from the White House, should I say. Perfect. Mr. Keldo, let's stick with you for a second then. Competing under pressure, I mean, this can be, 50 shades of gray, but Estonia is literally the outer layer defending us, like from the Mordor, should I call it?
You're right to call that, yeah.
There we go. And so my question is, I'm not gonna ask you about digital, because everyone asks Estonians about digital. That will be a question for you, Minister Roszyński.
But we have to tell our story, otherwise people don't remember.
Certainly, but my question would be rather, given the pressures that you, from the perspective of your helm, your ministry, industry, economy, and basically remaining competitive in spite of these pressures, what are the policy developments that either you praise that have been undertaken either in Estonia, in the region, or in Europe, or some that you see that are lacking and you are advocating for?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's a really broad question, a complex question. First of all, I would like to say that especially people in Eastern and Central Europe know it has never been a question about frontline. We know who's our eastern neighbor, unfortunately, and it's never a question about only one state or one country. It's a question about can we stand with our democratic values? Does our societies our societies built strong? Can we be resilient? This is the question. That's why in Estonia we don't see us as a front line. We see it's the eastern border of NATO and the eastern border of the European Union. And it's an opportunity and a problem both ways for the whole unions, for the alliance as well. But if take some concrete policies, it even sounds a little bit weird being the Minister of Economy, even in Estonia, I'm advocating for putting more money into defense. Because defense sector right now, it actually has two really important parts. First, it gives more security, resilience to the public, knowing that the future is more secure than it's now. But at the same time, we're seeing the defense sector itself, it's one of the most complex, it's one of the most innovative sectors where are really high salaries, really a lot of R&D projects going in. So this is a really good example where security and prosperity come together. And I of course have to say, as an Estonian minister, other policy that we are really proud of is that Estonian tax system has been voted to be the most competitive tax system of OECD countries for 12 years in a row. 12 years the Estonian tax system has been the most competitive. Those were two concrete policies that those are not under me directly, but they influence the economy and the prosperity a lot.
On a somewhat negative side, would you then say that perhaps that competitive edge that you have just described, does it happen that it attracts investments to Estonia that otherwise could have gone to Lithuania or Poland? Like with regional competitiveness in that regard?
Yeah, of course, somehow we are competitors, but I'm seeing, as I started, us together as friends and allies, because the competition comes from somewhere else. Let's take, for example, I'm really happy that Rheinmetall, German defense industry, made investments into Lithuania and into Latvia. So if investments are coming into the region overall, I would say that all of our governments should be happy, showing that still when the geopolitical situation is quite tough, quite difficult, every day something changing, that investments are coming into the Baltic region, Poland, even to Scandinavia. We are friends. Of course, we have to compete, like friends are competing some of the times, but moreover, I see us as allies, and every investment coming into the region is a really good sign for everybody.
I also would agree that it's not about competition, it's about how to do and work together. And I do believe that with Rheinmetall and all other potential investors into our region, we can build a whole supply chain across Scandinavian countries, Baltic countries, and Poland. We need this because supply chain means that we are stronger. We can, of course, put money into our local capabilities as well, because it's not only about foreign direct investments, but it's also to develop local capabilities. But we have money, because again we realized that we have to change our budget priorities after 2022, and now we allocated. And the good thing is in all this complicated story that finally defense investment and defense financing are not seen as a toxic. This is the thing, that we have options. We have options to borrow money on international markets from European Union programs like SAFE, but also from international financial institutions. So this is the good thing. What I can tell about Lithuania, and this is really I'm proud of, that during last 2 years we were able to issue bonds, defense bonds, for more than 200 million euros. So this is a significant amount of money, and that's why we have to diversify our sources and to bring more on the table with a very clear investment strategy, specifically in defense.
So in terms of a cohesive investment strategy, you would tend to agree then if I say that the SAFE instrument is one of the best developments from the EU coming lately?
One off, but definitely it shouldn't be one. We need more. And again, as an ex-banker, I can say that we need even more sophisticated instruments and financial products to stay resilient, but also to open new financing ways.
Sure. Minister Roszyński, now maybe swimming down the Baltic shore a little bit to Poland. Resilience is many things, but one of them is the digital sphere, and in your opening speech you mentioned a bunch of elements that resonate strongly across the whole town. AI is being one of them, of course, but then these developments that make institutions stronger. And you mentioned MODERATOR, you mentioned Plum, the Polish large language model. These are two spectacular achievements in the digital sphere from Poland. Can you elaborate a little bit about this? Why is this important, and how this can perhaps bring more resilience?
Yes, of course. I would add something for our discussion that's very important is cooperation. Cooperation between countries, between Central Europe countries, that in Poland we have nowadays two AI factories. One is in Poznań and second in Kraków. And we also want to have giga AI factory together with Lithuania, with Estonia, with other also European Union countries. It's very important to be resilient, to be sovereign, and what does it mean for us, for our country, digital sovereignty? I've mentioned about my opening speech that we have nowadays flagships apps like tools like MODERATOR, M-Citizens. In other countries they have similar, like in Estonia, for example, in Lithuania, and that is everything for our citizens. How to easily communicate with our citizens, how to have easy way to citizen and solve the problems, for example. And if we say about AI nowadays and about our flagships application and MODERATOR, that our plan nowadays is to have virtual assistant. Nowadays we have a pilot for virtual assistant from our Polish LLM plan. And if citizens have a question have a problem, can give this question to chatbot, and it will be no problem to have a good and truly answer. And that is also the point. And what can we add up, except of course this our application, and to create Polish LLM with private sector. The example is in Poland, Bielik. This is combination between private and public sector. How can we cooperate together, and how can we have together success?
Mm-hmm. One takeaway from what you have just said, and I think it resonates with what the other ministers have said before, is that none of these big developments in terms of whether it be resilience or competitiveness will not really go forward unless there is significant public and private cooperation. I mean, the war in Ukraine has alone shown that unless they really merge and walk in line together, there'll be chaos. And so with this in mind, maybe I was thinking I should solicit your thoughts about this. What are the bottlenecks in terms of the public and private sector that you see from your perspectives that should be perhaps cleared somehow? And this is a special place to ask this question because this is our goal, to connect public and private sector. So I wonder what your thoughts. Maybe Minister Casimir.
Yeah, so it's a very good question. So first of all, mobilizing of private capital is important like never before. Why? Because we need investors, we need that money. Of course, we can use all public available sources, but it's not enough. To strengthen the sectors, to strengthen the economy, we need private capital. And there is no one area or one sector. It's all about the whole economy. If we take about digital sector, or if we, for example, take example as strategic infrastructure across the Baltic countries or Poland, we need to protect our infrastructure. We need to protect energy infrastructure. Why? Because enemy attacks our energy infrastructure, and organizes sabotage across the region. So to mobilize private capital, we need not only trust, but we need sophisticated, very clear instruments how to do this. And taking into example PPP project, here you need trust. Society should understand all risks and opportunities that PPP projects bring on the table. So with having trust, we will get more private capital and we will get more long-term projects with PPP or not only PPP, but both directions are important.
To follow up real quick, are there any very specific instruments other than PPP that you are thinking of right now that you feel like there should be more of them deployed?
We are looking actually what Poland announced months ago. It's about innovative Poland, what Minister Domański announced how to mobilize capital and invest into innovative companies through direct or indirect investments. So this is something what I think it would be a good example to put on the table in Lithuania, where we have freshly reorganized our development bank, but development bank on his priority agenda has this item, how to mobilize, create specific products to mobilize, in order to mobilize private capital.
Indeed, the innovative Poland is somewhat reminiscent, I think, to how in the US a lot of strategic companies throughout decades. A French model. French, then early on in the US, they were, when the states identify something strategic, they put in the cash and then it gives you the wind in the sails. Lovely, Minister Keldo.
Yeah, I would continue on that. One concrete action what governments can do and what we're doing in Estonia is you will make innovation procurements. Because usually when there's public procurements, you only procure and look for the cheapest price. But now seeing how complex and diverse is the world, different services. So you procure a solution for a specific problem. And it's not a question about price, but some new technology, some new production, whatever. You basically leave the procurement open and the best innovative idea wins. And that's something that we're already doing. We need to do that more. We're doing it in defense, in digital infrastructure. But going even forward, I would say that even the toughest question is that I fully agree what my Polish colleague said, that we in Estonia also, right now, we have been building the digital society, and as I mentioned, we have 100% of governmental services already online, fully accessible online. Now the new question is an agentic state, where different public authority services proactively discuss with the citizen, where all the services are citizen-centric, proactive, and of course there are different ethical questions, legal boundaries, when the algorithm makes the decision, when the person has to make the decision. But I would go even back. When I look at European Union, unfortunately still a lot of governments and countries are in a different level of digitalization. When usually, unfortunately, when talking about digitalization, and some countries, I don't think Poland or Lithuania, who are both really progressive, but countries talking about the usage of AI, sorry guys, you don't even have digital services yet. You can't go agentic if you don't have the data, if you don't have the foundation of an I don't know, in Estonia we have X-Road, different governments have different, let's say, foundations on their digital society. Unfortunately, I see, when I travel a lot, I see the usage of AI being more a buzzword than actually having some real content in there. So this is something the European Union overall, countries are struggling, that we need actions, because whatever panel you go, even here in Davos, I would say, everybody's talking about the usage of AI. I was meeting with one industry leader of industry in Estonia, and he joked to me that, Erkki, nowadays everybody, even if I ask something in ChatGPT, then you put on your product that the product was made usage of AI. So you can a little bit increase the price. So this is the question: how can we go from words to real actions? The development of citizen-centric services that are proactive, cost-efficient, and secure. I would say those are the questions that we have been constantly struggling and some time to time solved as well. So this is something we have to do more, not only talk about it.
Right on, Minister, right on. You want to say something?
Yeah, so just would like to reflect because you mentioned really good things, and the response to these challenges, I would say it's an investment in financial literacy and technology literacy. Why we need this? Because without this, we are not be ready to move forward with all, let's say, EU legislation or even local legislation. Without literacy, without increasing our population, society literacy, everything will be very, very difficult. So across, within the Ministry of Finance of Lithuania, within the National Bank of Lithuania, we have very specific programs, and actually operating together with the private companies, Lithuanian unicorns, Lithuanian IT companies, we found very specific instruments how to increase the literacy, financial and not only financial. Technology, it's more about technology right now. But financial literacy is a very important piece of this puzzle.
Indeed, Minister.
Yes, I would like add something about our discussion. If we say about new technologies and AI, we have to think about also digital skills our citizens. It's very important. How can we grow up? That is the main point. And of course, if we say about partnership, that is also important to see some project like GovTech. Departments of GovTech platforms. It's to use how can we connect companies, business, academia, and local government, central government. We see something, project like smart cities, like smart villages, that is also also connected with digital skills our citizens. And if we say about digitalization, that we have to see our citizens.
If I may add one concrete, I think what we're doing in Estonia is that if we're talking about long-term competitiveness, skills, resilience, and development, we launched this year. We launched a program with the minister. It was led by the president and the Minister of Education. Is that we accessed all the high school students and teachers access to OpenAI. Different models, so because as we are all talking about, it will be the future, so they have to learn to use it wisely as a tool, as an enabler, not to just ask stupid things, let's be honest. So if we want to be long-term competitive, we have to give our youngsters, our teachers, the skill set to use those tools as best as possible. Like, let's take for example, I've heard, maybe you have heard also, like everybody knows TikTok. Unfortunately, Europeans, Western children watch stupid videos on TikTok. I've heard that in China, they teach children different actual things because children's ability to learn, to stay in one place has changed. So you have to learn something throughout small, short videos. But at the same time, what our children are doing in TikTok, watching stupid videos. So this is something we have to really think about it, how we can prepare our societies for the competitiveness of the future. So that's why I'm really happy about the initiative. It was launched previous year even, sorry, it's already a new year. It was launched last year, and we'll see what will be the results, but I'm really hopeful for that.
So in other words, you are sort of an advocate for systemic approach to AI literacy.
Exactly, because if I would even say, I'm talking a lot about Estonia, but I wouldn't be a government representative if I wouldn't talk about Estonia, is how we were so successful to build up our digital ecosystem was that 20 plus years ago, we called it the Tiger Leap. We made a digital the accessibility of computers and programming and coding to children even in elementary school, that actually laid the foundation of new startups, Skype, Bolt, TransferWise, whatever, because those children were used to using computers, coding. It was their everyday normal life. Now we see we have to do the same thing with I don't know, we'll see where the AI boom will go, but we definitely have to be leading, not following the development.
Perfect. Our time is nearly up, but I still have one question brewing in my head that I want to ask you. And it sort of popped up when you mentioned the fact that there's this discrepancy between, let's say, that level of AI literacy or digital literacy for that matter across the EU. And that actually made me think about, you know, for instance, in France they have Mistral, yet they pay in checks. So there are like these things that make you think that this is perhaps somewhat unsustainable. But then again, like the old NATO slogan went, whatever the weather, we must move together. And so, my question is, the different phenomena that sort of point to the fact that regionalization is very much back, big time. And my question is, what are the things in terms of building up competitiveness, resilience, and all the things in between that you feel like could be better done when done by us regionally, rather than perhaps pushing the envelope in Brussels or in NATO or elsewhere? But those things that we can do, let's say, by pairing up. Really quick, like at the beginning, if you may. Thank you.
I have an answer. I have talked way too much already, but the program or the initiative that we have all talked about, starting with the Commission itself and I would say every national government, is the reduce of bureaucracy and over-regulations. This is something that every entrepreneur, if you talk to them, says that Europe needs to get their act together. We have to start looking not how to deregulate, not regulate, deregulate, how to make the usage of data more logical, the only once principle, not to report, not to make heavy burdens on small, medium enterprises. That's something we have to do together, because the European Union is such a big ship, as they say, and it can be turned really slowly, so it needs every man and woman to turn it. So that's something we can do together so much more better.
Splendid. Mr. Liczynski?
I think I agree with my colleague, of course, that the regulation is the key point, and we have to create our regulation and law to how to do easy business. Okay. This is a crucial point, and maybe one more thing about opportunity and chance for young people. That in Poland and in other countries also, we create and we do also like hackathons. This is also a possibility to how can we encourage young people to be the leaders.
Splendid.
So for Lithuania, like for other countries, definitely small countries or bigger, EU agenda should be top priority. This is no go. We are family. We one European family. But if we see that something important moves too slow, we have to cooperate. We have to do more within the region, and we have actually many good examples, like our energy sector. How we came to independency, how we did a lot of, how we were able to finalize a number of very successful cross-border energy projects. Another good example is Pan-Baltic capital market, together with Latvia and Estonia. 3 small markets, but when we work together, okay, we are bigger, we can offer new products, new solutions for our capital market customers. But now we see, okay, next move can be with Scandinavian countries. And now we are getting bigger and bigger. So this is the response, to do more within our region.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I would even say to the ending that I've said in many panels that there's a saying in Estonian and in English as well, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. That's something that should be the mindset of European Union.
No better way than to conclude this very high-paced, juicy discussion. Thank you, ministers.